What's up, everyone? It's Frank from Fam Sports New York, and for this video, we're going to be talking about the Frank's Finest list for Section 1C and D and the Hudson Valley Football League. I want to thank you guys all for joining this video, and if you're new here, we're going to be talking about the top players for the Section 1C and D class and the Hudson Valley Football League together, which is about the top 11 to 12 players on offense and defense, and give out a recognition for our kicker slash punter, our returner, as well. And kind of just want to give you a quick brief on how I come up with the process of selecting these players. This is a combination of different things, whether it's film work that I watch these players on, also take into account stats, and also take into account coaches' input. So I get all this information together and make these kind of choices. Now, if you disagree with some of these selections, that's okay, but I do think these kids deserve to be recognized on our Frank's Finest list for 2023. And obviously, before we dive further into the video, I also want to introduce kind of our Patreon benefits this year. So I appreciate all our supporters, whether you're a Patreon member or not, but think about joining our Patreon for some added benefits, which include a weekly recap of the games that went on, which is going to be starting after week 1. And depending on what tier you choose, you can get access to our internal Discord to talk football with us, to talk even suggestions on some ideas, and even breaking news if you guys want to talk on that aspect. And then finally, you can also get offensive line and team rankings per the classes. So think about joining a Patreon, and again, appreciate everyone's support. But let's dive into this list. And I'm just going to give just a real brief, announce the player, maybe give a thought or two on him. Let's start at the quarterback spot. This was a tough one, decision on the quarterback end, because there was a lot of talented quarterbacks here, some returning starters, some guys who had some really impressive years, and some people with a lot of talent that was hiding behind someone who was older than them. So this was a tough decision, but at the end of the day, the quarterback, our Frank's Finest quarterback, on this list is going to be Ryan Van Tassel, the senior from Haldane High School, multi-year starter, and each year that I've seen him get stronger and stronger, and this is a young man who can hurt you with both his arm and his legs. And I tell you, you can go on tape and there's some real throws that really pop off to you. Really important player for this offense, again, from a very small school, but has really carried the load along him with another one of his teammates, which I'm sure you'll hear later in this list. But Ryan Van Tassel is the quarterback for Frank's Finest this year. Let's go now to the skill guys. This could be running back, wide receiver, tight ends, or what I call athletes, which can play multiple positions. Let's start off with the next guy on the list, the running back Rob Foysett, the senior from Valhalla High School at 5'10", 195 pounds. Really strong runner, really thrived in kind of this B2C gap runs. And his balance is really strong. This is a young man who can play through contact, always feels like he's getting positive yards. He earned a spot on this list. Next up, running back Chris Calley, the senior from Westlake High School, over 800 yards of offense and 16 touchdowns last year. Really versatile weapon as both a runner and a receiver. Had a really strong runs out on the outside and counters. He has a nice juke to him. When he gets to that second level, he has that burst to hit the home run. He earned a spot on this list. Next up, running back Evan Gianchinta, the senior from Haldane High School. This young man, 6'2", 190 pounds, was dominant last year. Over 1,100 yards of offense, 13 touchdowns. He's up there with one of the best, as being one of the best players of all the small schools. And he might not blow you away with speed, but boy, he is powerful, and he knows how to play through contact. And he's also a dangerous receiver and returner, so he earned a spot on this list. Let's go to a couple wide receivers now. First one up, wide receiver Nick Castellano, the senior from Westlake High School. Big play wide receiver for his team last year in a run-heavy, play-action style offense, and he has solid size to him. My favorite part is his ability to play through contact has been really impressive with him, and he also shows some straight-line speed to beat you deep. And next, wide receiver Armani Brown, the senior from Peekskill High School, a transfer over from Stepinac, athletic, good speed to him. This is a young man who can step into this league and really set a blaze for this offense. Coaches were excited about him when I spoke to him, but this is a young man who can really, again, coming from outside in, really talented football player. Keep an eye out for him. He earns a spot on this list. And then finally, to wrap up the skill position, let's talk about athlete. I put him in there because he plays quarterback and acts like a running back as well. Travis Carlucci, the senior from Walter Panis High School, at 5'10", 180 pounds. One of the most explosive players in this area. He really can hit a gear. A lot of players cannot. Really affects each phase of the game on offense, defense, and special teams as a returner. And he can throw the ball to keep you honest, but as a runner, boy, defensive coordinators get, I'm sure, nervous playing against this young man and his ability to run with both power and speed. He earned his spot on this list. And before we dive further into the offensive lineman, I do have a Frank's film room I want to show of Travis and what makes him unique. For this video, we're going to be doing a breakdown on number 3, quarterback and safety, Travis Carlucci, class of 2024 of Walter Panis High School in New York, highlighted on the screen. Before we dive into the breakdown, I would like to remind the audience if you could please give a thumbs up and subscribe if you like this content. It really does help the channel. And also consider giving a donation to our group, which you can find in the description. Now, talking about this young man, Travis, this isn't the first video I've done on him, and he's listed at 5'10", 180 pounds, and he is one of the most explosive athletes in Section 1 in the Hudson Valley Football League, and he can impact each phase of the game, whether that's at quarterback, whether it's at safety, whether it's as a returner. I've seen him make plays on tape in each phase. And although talking about the next level, many might not consider him a quote-unquote college quarterback, but I tell you what, this is a college athlete when you turn on the tape. This guy is a very impactful player. As a runner, he is fast. I mean, he hits what people call that sixth gear very quickly, and what I like is he's gotten stronger and he's worked on his balance, which has helped him run through contact better. And as a passer, again, he's not going to throw it all over the field, but he can keep a defense honest, and he's going to see a lot of loaded boxes and a lot of man coverage, and he can make some plays for you in the passing game. Things he can work on, I think his play fakes could be a little bit more consistent. He's such a dynamic runner. Sometimes I feel like he's rushing to get out of, to find his lane or get to the outside, and I think he can work on his fakes and continue to work on his reads, passing the ball outside of his first option. Let's go over a couple plays I really liked. I mentioned he's highlighted right here, and there's no question what his best attribute is, running the ball, right? And this is going to be a simple play. It's going to be a quarterback blast. He's going to get a down block here, a kick out by the running back, and he's just going to find a lane. And you can see, look at all the bodies in the box, right? You have 8 guys in that box right there, including one linebacker whose sole responsibility is to spy this quarterback, right? And even when you have guys designed just for that man, doesn't mean you can make the play, right? Really solid down block right here, creating a lane. You're going to see a kick out, and now this is what you want, right? Your best athlete one-on-one with their defender, and Travis is going to win that battle most of the time. Look at him, he runs through the contact, that's the strength, and now this is the breakaway speed we're talking about. I mean, you have DBs who have 5 yards here that can maybe make a proper angle and make this play, but when he reaches that gear, there's not many who can catch him. And this is the gear I'm talking about. Right, these are fast DBs. I mean, he's making them look slow. He absolutely explodes through the hole right there. And again, starting from the top, it all starts with that strength, right? First off, he sets up his blockers well. Strength to run through that initial tackle. He does that, shakes it off really easy, and now this is the gear. That breakaway speed. And he shows he has that. See you later. Let's go to another example. I mean, he can run in between the tackles with that added strength, and he can damn sure get to the outside. And this is another very simple play. It's a quarterback sweep. You can see some zone blocking up front. Running back's going to lead the way. And it really tests the discipline and the contain of your defense. And again, they got 7 guys in this box right here. But if you don't stay in your lanes, if you don't protect the outside, he'll kill you. Here he does get to the outside. Really nice block in open field right here. And when he gets those shoulders north and south, this is the breakaway speed. This is that 6th gear I'm talking about. Watch him explode. Boom. Just absolutely get shot out of a cannon. Everyone looks like they're running in cement. I mean, he is a dynamic player. And I mentioned he impacts multiple phases of the game. But at the offensive side, him running the ball, it's very dangerous. See you later. I mentioned he doesn't just play quarterback. I mean, if you look around this league, there's not a lot of quarterbacks that are going to play both offense and defense. And not only does he play offense and defense, he'll also play some special teams. Now, we talk about throwing the ball. I mentioned here, right? He's not going to throw it around 30 different times. But what he can do is keep a defense honest. And here we go. We got 3 guys for these 3 receivers. We got one-on-one here with an overhang, but he's kind of leaning into this box, making sure he could stop the run. And this is just a go route. And they're on the short side of the field, on the hash. Can he throw and keep a defense honest? Right? You see the 7 men in the box. Can he keep a defense honest? And I think he can. Right? Simple read, single throw. And this is just an athlete throwing the football right there. Nice touch right there, delivers the football for a touchdown. And going from the top. You got to keep a lot of guys near the box because of that threat to run the ball. And can he make these plays to keep a defense honest? He can. I mentioned it earlier in the video about his ability on special teams. This is the last play right here. This is him as a returner. And you're talking mid-play, the ball's on the ground. But this is why I like this player so much, is that, hey, he's going to play multiple spots. He's not just stuck at the quarterback spot. A lot of teams are afraid to put their quarterback at multiple spots, and I don't blame him. But that shows the toughness of this kid, right? Look at him as a returner. There's one missed tackle. There's two missed tackles. Look at him cut back. That's three missed tackles. And now, okay, they got three guys on him right here. But that's the strength. That's 6 total. And there's the breakaway speed. That's that added strength that I'm talking about. That's the added strength I'm talking about. Again, starting from the top, this is him as a returner. Impacting multiple phases of the game. And that added strength along with his speed makes him as dynamic as anybody. This is a very good athlete. And again, going into his senior season, I'm excited to see kind of the final encore for this young man and how he improves. All right, guys, let's move now to the offensive line. And first one up, Andrew Barabasi from Valhalla, the senior at 6'2", 275 pounds, really has a nastiness to him. He's got those strong hands and really has improved on his finishing. Also shows the capability of pulling and getting to the second level. He earned a spot on this list. And now I'm going to have two kids now from the same school come up next. First up is Leo Bruvinas, the senior from Dobbs Ferry High School. Dobbs Ferry had a dominant rush attack, and this young man as an offensive guard, the linemen are a big part of it, and he is a part of that as well. This rush attack last year was deadly, and you need in this offense guards who can pull, guards who can block in space, and guards who can really trap and move people at the point of attack, and this young man fits that bill. And he's not a huge guy, but he is stocky, and he's got a nastiness to him, and he earned a spot. Another offensive lineman, Matt O'Leary, the senior from Dobbs Ferry, at the center spot. Solid-sized kid, does a really good job of down blocking. Again, when you have this offense with a lot of pulling, you got to be able to seal defenders off. You got to be able to down block. Got to be able to get to the second level. And he uses his size and his length really well here, who earned his spot on this list as well. Another offensive lineman, Anthony Mack, the junior from Spring Valley High School. This was a young offensive lineman last year, but he really shows potential. And this is a guy who can move his feet. He's got good strength, just very raw. But boy, this is someone to keep an eye out for, and he earned a spot on this list. And to wrap it all off, offensive lineman Alex Kratowski, the senior from Bronxville High School, 6'6", 270 pounds, impressive tools. At his size, he's got good feet, he's a lax player, he can pull, get to that second level, and what he's really improved on is strength and finishing. This is a guy now moving defenders at the point of attack, finishing his blocks. This is another impressive guy to wrap up the offensive lineman. Before we move to defense, I do have a Frank's Film Room on Alex, and I want the audience to see what makes him unique. For this video, we're going to be breaking down number 70 offensive tackle Alex Kratowski, class of 2024 of Bronxville High School, highlighted on the screen. But before we dive further into the video, if you like this kind of content, please give a thumbs up and subscribe for future videos. If you're thinking of helping the group even further, think about joining our Patreon for added benefits or using donation links below. And back to Alex, and this young man has a really good frame and a really interesting prototype. 6'6", 270 pounds, and this is not my first video on this young man, but boy, he has long, great frame, and the improvements I've seen the most from him on tape is that he has gotten stronger, which has helped him move defenders and displace defenders at the first and second level. And his hands have also gotten stronger, and when he stays engaged, you can see him start to move people way more than you've seen in the past. Now, things he can work on, sometimes he gets a little bit crabby, right? So sometimes the hand placement can be a little bit off, which could lead to potential holding penalties, and a little more depth on his pass drops. Sometimes you see it, it's really strong. He has a good, gets to his spot really quickly, and sometimes he gets a little bit too wide without getting some depth. So those are things to work on. But let's go over a couple plays. He always had good feet, And let's start with this one right here, kind of showing some of the strength. You can see down blocking, got a lineman pulling, they're going to be running right behind him. And in the past, it was a little bit difficult to move defenders at the point of attack, and you could see him getting stronger, right? You see the hands locked inside, elbows in, and now it's time to drive the defender. Initial contact was good, and you see him just drive him. Now he's moving that sled, right? And this is something you definitely see improved on from one year to the next. Let's go again right behind. Look at him drive the sled now, keeping the hands inside, and that's what you love to see. Look at him finish the block right at the end. One more time. Again, really good frame, 6'6", tall kid, 270 pounds lean. Strong block right there. Let's go to another play. Here he is right here. Again, you're going to see him block at the first level, get to the second level. We talked about this quite a few times. At that first level, you want to try to get some movement, keep your head up, and get yourself to that second level and make contact with that defender. First, initial hit. Really good job. You want to displace, you want to move that initial defender, keeping your eyes up for the second level, which is really important. So he gets the first part done. Now the second part can get to the second level. Look at him seal off that linebacker right there. Drive him out of the frame. Right, this is another strong rep by this young man. An initial, boom. Get that movement at the first level. Get to that second level. Seal off that linebacker and drive him out of the way once you get your hands locked in. One more time. Love those double team blocks. Block at the first level, get to the second level, drive the defender out of the way. Let's go to another play. Here he is right here. And again, he always had solid feet from the beginning, and a guy like that, big size like him, is another lacrosse player, multi-sport athlete. Getting him moving and seeing him move really opens eyes for people. And this is him pulling, right? So he's going to be pulling. Watch him, look at him get through the hole quickly. Now eyes on that second level right now, make contact, boom. Right, and there's that initial contact. That's that added strength that you see where you can plant the defender. But again, the footwork to get through the hole, pull, and again, the athleticism that you got to be able to block at the second level. Here it is again. Squares him up, boom, delivers the kill shot, plants him. So one more time. Go to the final play, and it's the big thing is these pass sets. I do think his stance has gotten better. He's gotten a little bit better leverage here, but again, it's the consistency in his pass drops, right? And now you got to be able to win these one-on-ones. And you can see again he goes for the initial contact right away. He's not getting a lot of depth. He's getting a little bit wider. What he does is gotten better at is shadowing. He does a good job of shadowing, keeping his hands locked right there. And you could see that spin move goes nowhere because his hands have gotten stronger. He's stayed locked in. And he just cuts the defender off right away, right? So again, good initial contact right there. Keeping the hands inside. Look at him moving his feet, right? Too often in the past we've seen him, he gets a little bit too wide and he can't get his hands locked in. But you can see he's definitely improved on it. That's all good stuff from Alex, and I'm excited to see him going into his final year. The improvements that he can make both on his body and on his technique, and what he can bring to the table this upcoming season. Alright guys, going to the defense now. I love talking defense, and let's start at the defensive line. First one up, Matthew McSherry, the junior from Bronxville High School at 6'2", 270 pounds. Stout defensive tackle, really hard to move, and I tell you what, he doesn't have a bad start, and this is another guy who can create some penetration for you. A lot of raw potential here, but he earned a spot on this list of being a very disruptive player for Bronxville. Next up on the list, defensive tackle James Mealy, the junior from Westlake High School. Again, not a guy who just pops off the screen, but boy, he is a steady force, and this is a guy who has some smoothness to him. He can penetrate in the run game. He also made some plays on sacks and pressures. Because of his ability to use his hands and disengage offensive linemen, he earned a spot on this list as well. Next up, Thaddeus Serlo, the junior from Tuckahoe High School. This is another raw player, but I tell you what, super explosive, one of the more productive pass rushers in this class. And there's a lot of raw potential that pops off on the screen to him. He has a really nice rip move. He's got a strong motor. Obviously, he can get a little bit stronger, but the talent is there and the production is there, and he earned a spot on this list. Another nose guard, Chris Bartolini, the senior from Tuckahoe High School. Strong kid, not very tall, but this is another very disruptive in the run game, and I love his motor. I mean, he's a guy who really can get after it, and I love his ability to use his hands. He's hard to move because he's strong. This is a guy who earned his spot on this list. And to wrap it all off, Jake Castillo, the senior from Woodlands High School, one of the more explosive players out on the edge, one of the best players on Woodlands. He made a lot of big plays for them on defense last year. And again, I know it was a tough year for them, but this is a young man who stood out on tape and earned his spot. All right, guys, let's move now to the defensive backs and linebackers. We're going to combine them into one group, right? So there's no specific order here, but let's start at a couple linebackers. First one up is Connor Benke. He's kind of like that outside linebacker, defensive back hybrid, the senior from Tuckahoe. Kind of an unsung hero for his team. This is an important two-way player for his unit, and this is a young man who made some plays when he put up on tape. Very active player, underrated player, and this is a young man who is now probably going to get a bigger role and has earned his spot on this list. Another outside linebacker, Owen O'Hara, the senior from Tappan Zee. Really strong two-way player for Tappan Zee. He was a solid runner, but on the defensive end, very active out on the edge and a strong plus tackler in space. And I like the toughness that he shows as well, earning a spot on this list. Let's talk about a couple DBs to wrap. First one up is safety Stephen DiNapoli, the senior from Westlake High School. This is a young man who has solid size to him, solid range and make plays on the ball, but also a good tackler out in space. He's a plus tackler both in the boundary, that he can come up, reads it well, make the play one-on-one, and has the speed then to get to the wide side of the field and make some plays on these sweeps. So this is an impressive young man who earned a spot on this list. Another defensive back, not very well known, John Del Cid, the senior from Port Chester. He's a strong running back for them, but also as a defensive back, probably one of their better cover guys. And this is a young man who is active in the run game and also made some really nice plays in the passing game. Can work on his hands a little bit, but this is a good athlete. Another tough kid from Port Chester and one of their better players who earned a spot on this list. Next up, cornerback Carl Augusti, the senior from Spring Valley High School. Probably one of their most versatile players on the team. Lines up at wide receiver, running back, defensive back, returner, kicker, punter. I mean, this guy is all over the field. He's probably one of their better man-to-man guys and probably one of the better man-to-man guys in this class. And this is a guy who's fast. I mean, dangerous as a returner, but he can also come up for the run and also run with the best of them as a pass defender in coverage. Next up, Gabe Montefiore, the senior from Ramapo. This is also another fast, versatile kid, an active kid on this defense from last year. And Ramapo is bringing back a solid secondary, and he's going to be help leading that charge. Another very active player, very athletic and fast player. Made some big plays last year for his defense, earning a spot on this list. And to wrap it all up, guys, let's talk about cornerback Drexel Lewis, the senior from Dobbs Ferry High School. This one was an easy one. He had 12 INTs last year. Very, very active. Probably one of the best man-to-man cover guys that I saw. And whether it's off coverage, reading the quarterback, reading the wide receiver, he was all over the field and made some big-time plays, even though he's not very big. But he was super impressive. And to round it off as a defensive backs. And before we go into our special teams player, I do have a Frank's Film Room on Drexel, and I want the audience to see what makes him unique. For this video, we're going to be breaking down number 2 cornerback Drexel Lewis, class of 2024 of Dobbs Ferry High School, highlighted on the screen. But before we dive further into the video, if you like this kind of content, please give a thumbs up and subscribe for future videos. And if thinking about helping the group even further, think about joining our Patreon for added benefits or use donation links below. And now back to Drexel, and this young man is not a tall man. He's a small guy, but boy, tell you what, he had a dominant year last year. 12 INTs last year, and what he really wins at is he has some good speed to him, fluid hips, and he has very good ball skills. I mean, this is a young man who knows how to get into good position, what I like to call it, or in phase, get into body position with his receiver and attack with football. And he really can bring down INTs. He's got some nice soft hands. And what I think he really excels at is this kind of off coverage, man coverage, where he can read the receiver in front of him, read the quarterback, and make plays on the football. Now, things he can work on, I do think he can be more consistent force in the run game. And yeah, he's not a very big guy, but I do think he can be a more dominant force in the run game and be a more well-rounded corner. Let's go over a couple plays I really like. And here's one of them right here, his ability to read the quarterback and break on the football. And there he is, backpedaling. You can see this combination kind of running out. He's going to kind of do a fade here, and they're going to try to throw a back shoulder pass to this wide receiver doing the phase. And what he does a good job is kind of reading the route and reading the quarterback using his eyes, right? So you can see the receiver starting to slow down, and his eyes now looking to go into the quarterback. See, the quarterback's getting ready to throw. And he reads this, and he's going to make a break on this football. Now, the quarterback doesn't get enough on this ball right here, but look at the break here. He reads that, attacks the football, gets that INT with soft hands, even with the face mask, and it leads to a turnover in the other direction. And this young man had 12 INTs. I mean, he was really turning the football over. And yeah, I know some people say, yeah, at the right place at the right time for a couple, but not 12. And you can see he can read the ball very well. He can plant, attack the football, and this is an example of it right there. And you can see him just sitting on that route. He does a good job. He's really going to test you as a receiver. You really got to run your route to the fullest, or he's going to take advantage of it, right? So you can see they're trying to do a little bit of like a back shoulder, or maybe even throw to the out here. Quarterback is kind of throwing in between. Didn't get enough on it for that back shoulder, but he reads it right there. Look at him take that ball, snatch it, break on it, leading to a turnover. And again, I think a big thing is his ability to get into good body position. And he's off the screen right now. He's going to be covering this receiver out on the outside. He's going to be running a go route. And he was really effective in the red zone. And some of these, they're trying to target him because he's not very tall. But I tell you what, when you have good ball skills like he does and athleticism, he makes up for it. And you can see the height difference here. But look at him body to body right here. And you got to go attack this football at its highest point. Look at him go up there and snatch that ball out of the air. And again, really impressive play. Yeah, he gives up some height, but he makes up for it with getting good body position, making good breaks on the football, and attacking the football with good ball skills. Do it a couple more times. Okay, maybe not talked about enough, but he was a real force in the pass game, getting 12 interceptions. That's an example of it. Let's go to the final play. Here he is highlighted right here. And you're going to see, because he does, he's going to watch the receiver, he's going to get his eyes on the quarterback. He's going to try to test you with double moves, right? And this is a really good example of his ability to, open up his hips and run. They're going to run a stop and go. There's the stop right there. You can see the quarterback pumping, and his eyes going to the quarterback, right? This is what they're trying to test. Does he have the discipline to keep his eyes on the receiver? So he's going to take a step forward, but he's going to recognize this quickly. Look at him step up. He recognized, look at him flip his hips open right here. And it's like the double move didn't even happen. Look at him body to body. He's got his body into the receiver, and now, again, still giving up some height. Got to attack the football at its highest point. Going to go up there and snag it, right? Even with a receiver that's bigger than him on him. Watch it again. There's the pump. There's the go. Get into body position. Go attack that football. Let's watch it one last time. There's the pump. Go up there and snag it. And this could be one of the better or best man-to-man cover corners that we have in Section 1. It's come from that small school in Dobbs Ferry. So I'm very excited to see how this young man progressed and what he brings for this upcoming year. All right, guys, to wrap it all off, let's talk about our special teams player, and that is Carlo Gussi, the senior from Spring Valley. Mentioned him earlier. He gets on the list again, this time as a special teams, and this is a guy, kicker, punter, returner. Super versatile, super important player for Spring Valley. He was impressive out on tape, and again, very deserving of this spot. And with that, I will wrap this up, guys. Congratulations to all the kids that were selected. Good luck to all the players, and thank you guys so much for watching the video. And with that, Frank is signing off. Peace out, guys.